First carp that were ever brought to America were brought to a pond in Upper Baltimore, and they were brought in the 1800s from Europe. And the carp are known to grow very quickly, and they soon outgrew the pond in Baltimore. And they were brought down from Baltimore to the mall in downtown D.C. The mall is the area where the Smithsonian museums, the Washington Monument, the Lincoln Memorial, and the Capitol building. The land in between them was a series of lakes called Babcock Lakes in the 1800s, and the carp were brought into these lakes. All the different states in the United States would requisition the Fish and Wildlife Authority for a certain number of carp to be brought to their state. And they would be put into giant milk jugs and transported across the states. And soon they caught hold, and they reproduced, and they became naturalized, if you will, in every state except for Alaska and Hawaii.
My name is Ben Matisse. The last 3 decades I'm chasing carp around the world. Today we are here to catch some carp in a famously unique place in Washington D.C.
Carp fishing in America has gone through many different stages. In the early 1900s, when industry was booming in America and the Industrial Revolution happened, a lot of our lakes and rivers were highly polluted, especially around major cities. And the only fish that could actually survive in those waters were, in many cases, the carp. Because of that, the rivers and the lakes were literally filled with trash and were polluted with industrial waste, but still these hardy fish lived, and they became known in America, unfortunately, as a trash fish. And they had a very bad reputation. They lived in very bad water. They didn't taste good because they ate everything that was in that polluted water. If the carp had their choice, they would love beautiful, clean, crystal blue water. But they were able to survive and reproduce, and they are now in just about every lake, river, and fairly large body of water in the United States. They still have in the United States, I don't want to call it a tainted reputation, they just don't have the same reputation as a sporting fish like they do in other countries.
Today, in America, carp fishing is getting more and more popular. People keen to learn more about it, and that's the main reason why I have been asked by Carp Tail America to consult with them on tackle, bait and strategies. Carp fishing is a lifestyle. The art of carping is a serious mind game. Even though things are not always goes as planned.
Touch it.
There are many different types of carp fishing in America, from the basic cane pole with a worm or a piece of sweet corn from a can, to the highly sophisticated European-style carp fishing. There are a large number now of the European-style carp fishermen using rod pods and bait runners and all the different types of gear. We dress in camos so the fish can't see us. Fun stuff like that. There's a product for everything in life that's basically a carp fishing.
Most of the cases, carp fishing is not as easy as people would think. By luck, you can catch a few, but to control the water, you have to have a strategy. Freshly boiled corn is one of the best ways to get the action started in a few hours or a day session. When finally fish is in front of you, all is left to do is enjoy the moment. Carp can give you some hard time and certainly some arm ache, but landing a decent one is a glorious feeling. Here at the tidal basin, the historical background, the close range fishing and the view, just an extra spice for your day if you're looking for a serious urban carp fishing. In DC especially, you always have people watching you, no matter what you do. That also can give you some extra motivation to actually show them some entertainment. Getting some results sometimes requires changes. This time the simple seemed to be the best. Two pieces of corn strictly on herring did the job, but you will see tons of more technical details in our tutorial video.
History of carp here in America. Back in the 1870s, we had a large influx of Europeans, mostly Western Europeans, and there were some Eastern Europeans also. But in doing so, what they wound up doing, they got here and they wanted to eat fish. Eating fish is something that has been natural for most Europeans all of their lives, and here in America all. But what they wound up doing was they petitioned enough of the congressmen that they actually brought carp to America. They got the first group from Germany, the second group came from France. They went back again and got another group from Germany. They were actually in the tidal basin that are between Washington D.C. and Baltimore. These fish eventually were released by each state asked that they could have the fish brought to their particular state. At this point, there are carp basically in every state, although there's not a real proliferation of carp. The largest carp ever caught here in America was caught out of the Mississippi River. So that should tell you something. This particular area has also got large carp. The record for here in D.C. is a 52 that was caught out of the tidal basin roughly in 1995. This, for me, here fishing at Haynes Point, it's more of a means of me getting together with the guys, convenient. I can fish closer to home, but I don't have the convenience of being able to let everyone fish with me. So this is a fellowship and also an enjoyment for us all.
Carp fishing is more fun if you belong to a group. Not only for healthy competition even within the family, but sometimes different approach can give you outstanding results.
One of the most important parts of carp fishing, and all fishing for that matter, is understanding the water that you're fishing in. You can have all the right equipment, all the right bait, but if the fish are not in front of you, you will not catch any, chances are. And you have to change your tactics, your baiting, what you're using for bait, how you present your bait on the bottom. Most carp fishing is bottom fishing, but you might want a longer hook length with a pop-up or some buoyant bait, something critically balanced so it wafts in the water. Europe and other places, but carp actually do have predators here in America. You have the flathead catfish, which will eat a carp if it's available. So in places where both live, the carp will find different areas to hide out. Water knowledge is paramount in every fishing instance that you're going to be. Carp fishing is no different. It's a fish just like any other fish, in as much as that they are affected by weather, high tides, low tides, barometric pressure, sandy bottoms, gravel bottoms, weedy bottoms, lots of tree stumps, no tree stumps. There's a couple different types of carp in America. There's your common carp, which have equally scaled sides, and then there are mirror carp, which are, each one is individual like a thumbprint, like a fingerprint. No two are alike. They have randomly placed scales. In Europe, there are carp known as leather carp, and they have no scales at all. In my understanding, if a carp has one scale, it's a mirror. If it has no scales, it's a leather. And to my understanding, there are not any leather carp in America. Unfortunately, back then in America, carp care and things like that weren't known. We don't know if that fish ever lived again or had to be taken like it is in, again, unfortunately, in many states, in order to certify the weight of a fish, it must be taken to a weigh station. Rules have changed now, and you can get awards and things like that for large fish simply by taking their picture, taking a few measurements with a tape measure, releasing it, having a picture, the weight and the measures, and then you can get your certification for that fish.
Fishing in US waters, being it a wide river, a small pond, or a huge lake, Carp Tail America's long-term mission is to provide all necessary equipment, knowledge and technology to all anglers who wish to succeed.
One of the beautiful things about fishing the tidal basin is that the opportunity to catch a special large fish by American standards is real. Many, many years ago, what was considered the largest carp caught on hook and line in America was taken from the tidal basin. The Potomac has yielded many in the 40-plus pound size, and actually many other urban areas in America have now recorded 50-pound carp, and a 60 has been caught in California. So carp are broadly dispersed throughout America, and for that reason, one of the nation's most prestigious fishing magazines have called the carp the greatest American sport fish. The greatest part about carp fishing in America is that there is so much untapped water, and the possibilities to catch a trophy fish are open to everybody in almost every state of the Union.